Hello, test, test. Should I start?
Hello.
Hello, test. Welcome attendees to Google I/O Extended 2016 by GDGKL, co-organized by APU SDS. First and foremost, we'd like to extend our deepest gratitude towards the APU management for their support, the volunteers for their tireless efforts, as well as the folks in the background. Our first speaker for the day is JT Liu. JT is a full-stack developer working in table apps in Berhad. He is also the lead organizer of Google Developers Group, Kuala Lumpur. As a full-stack developer working in a startup, he is skilled in Android, PHP, JavaScript, Python, and among other computer languages that encompass both front and back end. The title of this session is GDG Kuala Lumpur. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for JT Liu.
Okay, I'll use this. Okay. Hello guys, welcome to iOS Standard Kuala Lumpur. So right now I'm going to talk about Google Developer Groups Kuala Lumpur. So let me introduce you to the community. So first thing first, all thanks to the management of Asia Pacific University for giving us such a wonderful venue to host this wonderful event. So please give a hand to the APU management. All right. Okay, so what is Google Developer Group Kuala Lumpur? So basically it's simple. It's a community that organizes workshops, collabs, talks, and events such as this. So this is our first event ever, I think. It's Nasrul giving a presentation about the first ever Android. And that is one of our very, very early meeting. So we do talks and events that cover Google-related technologies. And we are used to call Google Technology User Group, or GTUG. That's what we used to be called. So do you want more details? Okay, so. All right, nice. Okay, so here's the full description. So a community of developers that have the passion to share and learn about anything Google-related technology, such as Android, Chrome, Firebase, Polymer. And I want to highlight this. So we are a local community that have a passion to share about anything about Google technology. So one thing we want to state that we always encounter is that we are an independent community, that we are not affiliated to Google in any way. Google support us because we use their technology. So stop asking us whether we are Googlers or not. How do we work for Google? Whether I can recommend them. So this is we always encounter this. So I told you already. I don't work for Google. Okay. So I would like to tell you a little bit about my story, about how I joined the community. So 2 years ago, there was this Google Developer Groups Kuala Lumpur event, my first ever event. I joined it, so it's called Dart Flight School. So anyone work on Dart before? Anyone? All right, so Dart is actually a technology that compiles to JavaScript. So it looks like Java. The syntax is really nice. So that was my first event. During that time, I was just a student. I just studied IT. I was level 2 at that time, but I have no idea what they're talking about. They're so high level. So I met a few GDG members. So what I feel like there's a gas giant over there, and I'm just like a sand. It's like over there. There's one tiny piece of sand. I feel like nothing, like trash. But so through sticking with them, get close to the community, get some feedbacks, recommendation on how to do stuff, and get the best practice. And by meeting the right people, so I get the necessary skill. So through there, I met a few people, and then there's one guy, his name is Anonymous, so it's like, because through the community, right, I talked to him, and then he asked me he just like called me out one day and say, "Hey, JT, you know there's a house in our neighborhood, no, there's an entrepreneur in our neighborhood." So we just met up at Yamcha in a mama store, and unknowingly that guy is interviewing me. So from that moment onward, I like unwittingly joined the startups. So, and after that, by volunteering, involving myself with GDG activities, so I just involve myself by talking and speaking, giving talks. Eventually I just become a colleague for GDGKL. So being in the community is very nice. So it's awesome. So welcome to the GDG community. So please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. It's very easy to find us. So you just need to Google them, Facebook, GDG, Facebook. So about this Google I/O standard, since we are a community, right? So if you want to discuss anything about Firebase and any of the stuff, so here are the speakers and all the pros here. So for web technology, please find Henry Lim, Kim, Bob, and Dr. Sharu. So and they are very, very well versed in all progressive web apps, Polymer and stuff. So just grab them whenever you find a chance. So you want to talk about UI and UX, you can find these two. There's Shiva and our only Malaysian Google developer expert, Taylor Ling. And Android. Okay, so Google Developer Group Kuala Lumpur is founded, I think it's founded with a few Android developers, so we can find a lot of Android developers here, a very, very skilled one. Especially Anghi. He got a documentation in his head, so you just talk to him. Okay, Kamra and Wenjun as well. Okay, so and over here we have new members as well. So we have Dr. Mustafa and Ibrahim. Ibrahim, I think he's a local celebrity. He hosts a web series called Open Office Tuesday. So he will give a session in Bahasa as well. So this is something that we really, really look forward to, and to see how the audience react to it. Okay, so anything about AI. So there's one girl, she's really, really smart. Okay, and he's around my age. So, but her smart is like, I think 1,000 times smarter than me. Yeah? Okay, so she's Christian. So anything about AI, deep learning, okay, anything about that, you find her. Okay, besides Google-related stuff, we also cater to iOS as well. iOS is a part of it. We also have Google technology in iOS. So do find Daliso. Daliso is going to give a workshop about how to implement Firebase in iOS. So for those registered, do go down to level 2. We have a workshop there later. Okay, so for women who wants to get involved yourself with technology, but you find yourself a little bit shy, or you need encouragement to do so, you want to encourage other women to get involved in tech, again, Nasina is there to help you. She's the Woman Tech Maker lead, so that's the Twitter handle for Women Tech Makers. Okay, so and there's many, many more as well, hidden within the crowd, many, many more experts that you can ask from. Okay, and later we have another session that is way out of the blue that will render you speechless. Do look forward in that. So I think it's in your agenda. Okay, now, house rule and stuff, serious stuff. Number one, be nice to each other, don't be rude. Okay, we are here to make friends and to learn. Next, okay, t-shirts will be distributed after the event. We'll give you the feedback form, and then after you fill them out, you show to the registration people, they'll give you a t-shirt. Okay, it's extremely limited, so only people with the badge will get it. So after they get them, get the t-shirts, and still have t-shirts left, you can get those t-shirts. Toilet location. Do you guys know where's the toilet? The toilet is at the end over there. It's by the staircase. The male toilet is at the left of the staircase. Right, the female is at the right. Okay, It's over there. If you don't know, you can ask one of our friendly volunteers over there. You can ask them where's the toilet, and they'll guide you to the right way. Food and water is limited also, so people with the best will get priority to the food and water. And if those people already took their food and water and still have some left, you can get them. The cafeteria and the convenience store is open downstairs. So if you feel thirsty or if you feel hungry, you can go downstairs and you can buy yourself some food. Right. There will be collab. There will be a collab in level 3. So if there's any session that you find, maybe you are from other country that you don't speak Bahasa, or maybe the session is too advanced for you. You just want to have a break. The collab will be in level 3. You can ask one of our volunteers to guide you there. Okay? We'll give you food, so don't throw rubbish. So this is they sponsor us value. So we like to preserve a good relationship with them. So don't litter. Okay, next, enable physical web in your phone. So here's a blog about how to do it. So it is written by Henry, the speaker later. So I will just pause a little bit and let you take a picture and go into this website. So I'll give you 10 seconds. Later, we'll use physical web to broadcast feedback forms and our agenda as well. So if you need to refer, if you don't have a badge, you don't have the agenda, you can go into this website and you can check out our speaker bio and the agenda as well. All right, so there's a printing error over here. So this is the SSID, S2016. And the Wi-Fi password is IOX at 2016. In case you want to take some pictures, so you can do it now. I will give you 5 seconds to do it. All right, done? Okay, cool. Okay, so the last one, have fun. And I'll pass it to my next speaker then. So thank you very much.
Thank you, JT. Our next speaker is Bobtail. He will be giving the opening keynote. Bobtail is a Google Developer Relations Program Manager and has more than a decade of full-stack software solutions across various industries, including telco, banking, digital and creative advertising, and retail. During his free time, he likes to experiment with new technology or take his road bike out for a spin. He strongly believes we are only starting to scratch the surface of what's possible with technology in this era and is looking forward for the next big thing to come. Please give a warm welcome to Bobtail.
Testing. Go on. All right, guys. Very good morning. How are you guys feeling today? Good? Good? Awesome? So before I begin, I think JT brought up a very good point. So be nice. So I kind of want to encourage everyone to look to your side, introduce yourself, say hello, give a hug. I'll give you guys 5 seconds. Yeah, go ahead and do that. Get to know everybody. And I'll do that myself too. I'm going to choose this really nice gentleman here. Hello? Let's hug, come on. Let's hug. All right. All right, so everyone is warm and fuzzy in the morning right now, right? So my name is Bok. Everyone just call me Bok because it's so much easier than Bobtail. I work for Google. I'm in the developer relations team in Singapore. And I focus on Malaysia and Thailand as well. A little bit about myself. I'm actually born Malaysian, and I grew up in a very small fisherman village called Teluk Intan. Anyone knows? I see some nods in the crowd, which is awesome. Yeah, during my time, Teluk Intan was a very small fisherman village, around 200 people. Everyone knows everyone. And then after that, I moved to Singapore, and then I settled down there. So I'm very happy to be here and speaking to everyone this morning. And just want to introduce I/O, like Google I/O. So who has heard of I/O for the very first time? Okay, so most of you have heard about it. So I/O is our annual developer conference. Right? We do this every year, and we kind of announce new products, new technology to the world. And a lot of people actually flock into Mountain View, San Francisco to attend this event. This year is especially memorable to us because it's the 10th year that we are doing this. So we started off with I/O. At that time, it was not called I/O. It was called, let me try to get this working. It was called Google Geo Developer Day at 2016. And that was it. You know, everyone flocked into Google Campus cafeteria and listened about the new geolocation API. So it's a very humble beginning. And this year it became this. 2016 Google I/O at Mountain View Campus. And this was one of the largest events that Google has actually organized and put together. But as much as we want everyone to get involved, it's actually not possible to host the world, and therefore we have I/O extended events exactly like this. So you can get to know the news and also experience what I/O is about in your home, right, in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur, right here. So there are multiple things that are being announced in I/O this year, but I'm just going to touch on a couple of key and exciting technologies. So we have Firebase, Android, web, and machine learning. There will be sessions and breakout later on during the day, so go to those sessions that you find interesting. They will all be centered around all these technologies. So I'm just going to go ahead and talk a little bit more about what Firebase is. Who has used Firebase before? Anyone? Nice. Who has never heard of Firebase? It's not a fish on fire, just to clarify. Okay, so majority of you have never heard of Firebase before. So Firebase used to be a startup, right? And then it got acquired by Google a couple of years back. And what it does is that it provides a backend as a service to app developers. So you don't have to worry about your infrastructure, right? Just focus on developing your app, and then use Firebase, and it will scale accordingly, right? So that was what Firebase was all about a couple of years back. This time round, we actually roll out a new release of Firebase. Firebase, some say 2, some say 3. To be honest, in Google, we don't really care about the version number. We just throw it out there to get you guys confused. So the new Firebase helps us still maintain that very, very good thing about scaling infrastructure, but we also has an analytical component to it, which I'll talk a little bit more later on. Right? So this is how the new Firebase looks like. Initially, there are 3 features, and now there are 14. Right? So it's grouped into features that allows you to develop your app without you having to use multiple different services, multiple different backend. And then it also has features that allows you to grow your app by getting extra users. Right? Get your app noticed in the marketplace. And also has integration with AdMob, right, for monetization. So some of you might still be starting and you haven't think about monetization yet, but that's how you get money, right? So you want to graduate, be rich, be like JT, join a startup. I don't know where JT is, but oh well. So yeah, so it's grouped into all these 3 groups. And I'll start off by talking about the analytic feature. Right, so Firebase Analytics is something where it ties in all the features, allows you to easily understand what your app is doing, how your app is performing on various different version and devices, and also allows you to see how your users are interacting with it. Right, so let me just backtrack here. I forgot. So all these features in the middle is actually analytics. Right, so that's Firebase Analytics. For those of you who like data, this will be your favorite too. If you go into Firebase console, and it looks something like this, right? Immediately you drop a piece of code, you will then be able to know, how many users are using it, how many crashes, and hopefully you don't get like 2.36K crashes in 30 days. that would be devastating, I would say. But yeah, more graph, more chart. If you're into data, this is definitely your thing, right? So that's analytics. But this is one of the most exciting features about Firebase. Nowadays, we live in a world where there are a lot of devices, right? iOS, Android. There's a small company called Microsoft with Windows Phone. Not sure anyone knows about it. There's also the web, if you're developing for the web. But one thing is very common. All of them, nowadays as developer, we need to develop for multiple different platforms. And then sometimes you need to synchronize data as well. So that's Firebase true value in one of the developed features is the real-time database. You just use it, you populate a database, it gets pushed to all devices. I won't drill in too much. There's a session later on, so do go to those sessions to know more about this. But this is very exciting, and I see a lot of use cases for this. The other one is Firebase Authentication, right? So at some point, your app needs to have users to sign in. There are various different authentication providers right now, like Facebook, Google, Twitter, GitHub, and as well as your own. Right? How do you roll one solution into all different devices that support all this? Right? This is what Firebase Authentication allows you to do. Just drop a piece of code, do a little bit of coding, and then you get all this out of the box, right? Which is really cool. So once you develop, you want to test it, right? And we know that testing on devices is very, very tough. You can do two things. One is that you buy all the devices in the world, and you test them. If you do that, please let me know. I'll be your best friend. Or you can test it on the cloud. Right? So that's what Test Lab is all about. It's basically all those devices on the cloud. You deploy just once. It basically deploys into all the different devices. You pick the devices you want to test with. And then after that, it generates a very comprehensive report. Right? So that's the easy way to do it. Right? So that's Test Lab. So after you develop your app, you then test this with Test Lab. And then lastly, you want to obviously monetize your app, right? So you want to earn money, right? Put ads whatsoever, get in-app purchases. And that's where Firebase with AdMob integration come into place, right? Yeah, as I said earlier on, this is just a very quick overview of what Firebase is, the entire workflow, how Firebase support from build, grow, to develop, right? So that's the entire very quick few minutes kind of walkthrough. The other sessions will drill down more deeper, so go to those sessions to know more. So that's Firebase. So the next thing we're going to talk about is the web. And before I dive down any further, who are web developers in the room? Web developers. Who are Android developers? And who are the rest? Are you guys just for the t-shirt? No, I'm just kidding. I know I'm just here for the t-shirt. But if you're a web developer, this is a really exciting time to be a web developer because there's, we just passed Chrome Mobile, just passed the 50th release and inching into 53, coming out in September. And during the 50th release, we thought that, hey, why don't we take a look at how many users we have on Chrome Mobile? And it's actually 1 billion users on mobile each month. That's tremendous reach, right? All you have to do is you deploy an app that works well on mobile, you are reaching 1 billion users around the world. Imagine that, right? Right from your bedroom. When I started off, it was right in my bedroom. So, yeah, 1 billion users, that's like 118 times the population of New York City, right? So that's basically the web, the reach the web has to offer. So we concentrate on the web, and then we think about what kind of technologies that we can actually roll out. And that's where progressive web apps come into place, right? So progressive web apps are basically apps that are fast, secure, responsive, as well as offline enabled. It offers the kind of native app experience for your web app. If you haven't downloaded this, in fact, you don't have to download. That's the beauty of PAWA. You go to that link. I think Henry later on will talk more about, where's Henry? Henry later on will talk more about it, I hope. No? Okay, then I'll talk more about it. So this is the IO Extended KL PWA app. It's a web app. And as you can see, what I did was that I add on to my home screen. It now feels like a native app, right? It looks like a native app, right? It's smooth, it's fast. Even if you do this, it actually doesn't show you that it's in a Chrome window, but it's actually a native app, right? And then what I do is that I go offline. Just let the video run a little bit. Come on. Uh-oh, the demo god is against me today. Okay, so let's play this a little bit. But what I want to show you, and why I do this a couple of times, because it's a really exciting thing that I want to show you. Imagine your web app being able to work offline. All right, that's pretty amazing. And imagine you trying to understand what kind of topics it's having in this event when you're on a plane. How do you do that? You can't even do that for native apps. So you switch it to flight mode. This is my phone, by the way. So if anyone plays Tsum Tsum, add me. And it still works, even in offline mode. So that's the beauty of PWA, right? For native apps, you kind of ask people to install. For PWA, it's just a web app. You just pass on the link, and then people will actually get it on the phone. Right? 1 billion users. I can't say that enough. So that's PWA, fast, secure, responsive, offline enabled. There will be sessions as well later on. Go to those sessions to know more. And in this year in I/O, we actually beef up our PWA offering through frameworks like Angular and Polymer, as well as React, and Ember. Those are the third. No phones allowed? No, just kidding. But one really exciting thing is that Ionic, if you guys are developing hybrid apps using Ionic, Ionic actually released and say that they will have native support for PWA, which is really cool. The same code base that you use for Ionic hybrid apps, you can publish it to PWA. And that says a lot, right? The industry is starting to embrace this system, this format, as well as this standard. So check it out, PWA, lots of sessions later on. And then I'll switch base to the Android developers. Anyone know what this is? Nougat? Awesome. It's definitely not Android do not name me or Android no name or Android something else. It's basically Android Nougat. It's the latest version of Android. If you happen to go down Mountain View, I remember take a photo with this handsome Android standing on a couple of Nougats there. And with Nougat, we really nail in on optimization and performance. So the Android platform has always been, people always complain that the battery life is too short, it uses too much power, so on and so forth. So we kind of focus on optimization. And that's where the DOS feature comes in, right? To fully optimize each Android app. There are certain ways that you need to code for this to work. In fact, this is going to come out at the end of the year, so you don't have to wait very long. The latest version of the developer review is out, so go ahead and download and play with it. But there are certain ways that you need to code your Android app so that it can be super efficient. Right? And the key here is to give your users a good experience, right? So that's what DOS is all about. Multi-screen is an exciting new feature, right? So now what you can do, you can actually split your app in Android terms, 2 activities, you split it up, you can have them side by side, simultaneously doing things, right? Which is really cool if you think about it. Notifications, cleaner way of categorizing and grouping your notifications. If you have like 1,000, 2,000 Instagram followers, you will definitely love this. I don't, so add me on Instagram. So notifications are a bit smarter now. Data savers, make sure you're using the bandwidth a little bit more efficiently. JIT compiler, this is really cool. I think in the earlier on, every time when people install your app, it waits a long time. But now if you install your app, it actually compiles on the fly, and that's about it, right? So installation is smooth and fast. And one thing I want to talk about is that the Vulkan API. Anyone develop games in the room? No? Anyone do 3D programming? Oh, there's a very shy guy there. So Vulkan API is the next big thing on Android end. It's basically a programming layer, which is very similar to OpenGL, Direct3D, you guys might have heard about it. And what it does is that it allows you to really render things and run things off the GPU on the mobile phone. And this is really awesome because you can really get close to console quality gaming, right, with Vulkan. I won't say it's easy, it has a steep learning curve, but if you're into game programming, do check this out. And it's available now on End. Very cool. The next big thing on Android is Android Wear 2.0. And this is really exciting for a couple of reasons. Previously, when you develop Android Wear apps, you have to develop a companion Android mobile app. But with 2.0, you don't have to do that now. Right? Your app can connect to the web, can function as it is as a standalone Android Wear app. Right? So you don't have to develop a companion app on your mobile. And for those of you who really like messaging, you can now reply a message on the watch by doing Smart Reply, or you want to type out your message or reply, you can do that with handwriting or keyboard, because sometimes speaking to your phone, like how I do it like this, when I try to reply to my wife, is kind of awkward, I would say. But these are some of the new things that's coming to the platform, which is really cool. If you want to check it out, download the emulator and start developing apps on this. So earlier on, JT touched about machine learning a little bit, and that's where TensorFlow comes in, right? So TensorFlow is sort of our open source offering for AI. And a lot of things we have come a long way when we talk about AI. You know, from the time where, who have watched this? Just wondering, one or two? So this happened in Korea a couple of months back. And what these two guys are doing is that this guy right here, Lee Sedol, is a Go master, right? And Go is deemed as one of the most complicated board game, right, in the world. So what he's doing, he's actually playing against AlphaGo, and AlphaGo is sort of Google's AI Go player, right? And they played this game for I think 5 or 6 days. And it became so intense that after the 5 or 6 days, Mr. Lee actually lost a couple of kilograms. It was that intense. It was really a true titan battle of brain power. But what's really interesting is that AlphaGo eventually won. But there are a couple of observations which is worth noting. So in game 2, AlphaGo made a move that no human ever would, and it was beautiful. It was really unexpected. When we think about AI, we think about a machine that learn from the human experience, right? We input whatever knowledge database, they learn from it. But AlphaGo is actually able to interpret based on the knowledge that they have given and then come up with its own play. This is really revolutionary if you think about it. We are inching the way towards true AI, how AI should be right now. And then in game 4, Sendo came back with a move that was so unexpected that he himself couldn't believe it, because he was being challenged by AlphaGo to that stage. Both of them are actually pushing one another. You can imagine doing this with human beings, right? We play, for example, badminton. We play against each other. We want to beat out each other. But now the machine is actually challenging human AI capacity to that level. And then the human is actually doing back the same thing to AI, which is really cool. At the end of the day, even though if AlphaGo won, right, a lot of people actually concluded that the game was actually a showcase of how we can work together with AI. And this is a statement that I'm not sure has been made before at such broad spectrum, but it's really, really revolutionary and striking to me, because now we can get to that stage where we talk that AI can actually do something meaningful and impactful in our life, in our daily life, not in specific education sector or so on and so forth. Right. So to do that, we package everything most of the things that allows developers to incorporate AI into the application and games into TensorFlow. Right? There's a session later on by a very intelligent lady. Do attend that. Right? Get to know AI. It's not as scary as we thought. It's actually pretty good. And the interesting thing is that I think a couple of weeks back we actually announced that TensorFlow can now be incorporated into a mobile device. Right? All the computational power needed for AI is now available on a mobile device. So just check it out, TensorFlow mobile, and then download the library, have a go, and see what else, what kind of cool apps you can do. The last thing, I just want to close it off, where I didn't really talk much about it, is virtual reality. And virtual reality these days is the new buzzword. If you want to do something virtual reality, you more or less will get funded, hinting. Don't say that it's from me. But yeah, AI is the next big thing. VR, AR are sort of like the next big thing. Sorry, I mentioned AI just now. AR, obviously you guys know Pokemon Go, how successful it can be. It drives the stocks of Nintendo up, and then after that, it drives the stock of Nintendo down. Kind kind of sad. But basically in Google, we took a step back and then we think about what we can do to enable VR at a large scale. And this is the new project called Daydream. What Daydream is that we want to come up with a specification that we can then share with the industry of how to develop good quality VR apps as well as good quality VR hardware, right? So that's what Daydream is all about. And we actually will be supporting VR as a native environment in upcoming Android releases, which looks something like this. So if you don't want to just browse menu using your finger on the mobile phone, you can actually put on a VR headset and you can browse your Android OS like this. It's really, really cool. And that's how the sort of like our so-called spec device looks like. It's really slick. It comes with a controller as well, so you can actually interact with the VR world as well as with a headset. So look out for this if you're interested in Daydream, because that's definitely very cool. So I think that's mainly about it. Just want to keep the keynote that do enjoy. Some of the house rules, do remember, don't litter, so on and so forth. Be nice to each other. And yeah, just enjoy the day, go to those sessions that you're interested, and most of all, have fun. Right? And thank you so much for being such an awesome audience. And
hello. Thank you, Bob. Our next speaker is going to be at 11. Sorry. Is Taylor Ling in the house? Hello. So our next speaker is over there. His name's Taylor Ling. And he's going to be talking about the journey to Google Play Awards nominations, sharing the experience of making fabulous. Taylor is a professional mobile product designer and passionate about good mobile UI UX. Previously, he worked in a 3D printing company on their life-saving medical software. Today, he works at SnappyMob, a startup in Kuala Lumpur, making a difference in the local mobile app development scene by creating high-quality apps that users love. He also designed Fabulous, a habit-forming app that got into Google Play Store Editor's Choice and nominated in the Google Play Award. Please welcome Taylor Ling.